Good afternoon, Scorpio. This is going to be the weekly reading, and I am so excited about this because y'all know I'm a Scorpio too. And I've been going through some changes lately. And I won't do personal readings for myself just because certain areas of my life right now, I feel like that would block me, especially with love. So I myself don't do like personal readings per se anymore. I used to. But I kind of sneak it in because when I do the Scorpio reading, guess what? It's for me also. So I look forward to this every 2 weeks as well. I've been really going hard with videos today just because I've had a lot of channeled messages coming out. If you did not watch my All Signs reading video that I made this morning, the messages were coming out so fast that I had trouble. Like I would start off with one message and another one would come in and then another one would come in and I'd have to loop back around and tie it all together and hope I didn't forget what I was trying to say to start with. So but do check it out. Lots of really, really good messages came out. What I'm beginning to realize, and I believe I'm going to say this in every one of my videos this week, is that if you are divinely guided to watch my videos, it's because you are on a spiritual journey. You are not just here to find out what so-and-so is doing or what they're not doing or whatnot. You're actually here because you yourself are on a spiritual journey and an awakening. Either, a twin flame journey like I am, or you've always been open to other dimensions, knowing that there's a whole spirit realm out there. Sorry, my dog's pacing around. But it's more than just seeking a psychic, because I really am evolving. When I first started this channel, I had no idea. And as it's gone along, I have become more of a teacher than a psychic per se. I do have things that come up, but more channeled messages as far as for the collective consciousness of each sign. Or whatever group, or really whoever's listening, because you don't even have to be a Scorpio to listen to my messages. If you're divinely guided to listen to my messages, then you know what? Then that message is for you. And so that message just came out for somebody too. Lately, I've been having like messages come out, and I've been like, whoa, I don't even know where that came from. Because I have been channeling so much. So with that being said, I'm real excited too, because like I said, I've been going through some things. And it just changes, like just, crazy shit. So I'm really looking forward to this. We have the Chariot card, and this is a fast moving energy of things moving towards you. Love. I'm really feeling very strongly that whatever you've been trying to attract or align to is more the word for it, in your romantic life, that you are right there, and it's coming. I have that maybe you just have maybe one or two more energetic shifts until you're aligned to it. And I feel like those messages are going to come out here, and you're going to really see it, and you're going to really see how far you've come. And this is a forward moving journey. This is not a straight line. You can't go backwards. You can only go forwards. And it's a cyclic journey. So imagine your journey is just like a whole bunch of circles, almost like you're doing cartwheels. Seriously. And that is how this journey goes. And so you go through these cycles of changes. And as you go through these cycles of changes, every time, have you noticed, like, I know I start off feeling real good. And then I'll get triggered by something. And then I'll have to clear something. Or, if you're not doing this, then you know what? Set your intention for self-mastery and self-discovery. It is very challenging, but it's so rewarding. It's so much more rewarding than a relationship. Can you believe that? Discovering yourself, mastering yourself, taking the key and unlocking all of the ancient DNA knowledge of your soul, of all that your soul's ever been, is so much better than being in a relationship. Because I feel like once I get to the end of this, which understand there is no end point, there is no destination, there is no finish line, because if there were, guess what? I would end up stuck back, or you would end up stuck back in another dead end situation. And if you don't want a dead end situation, then you need to welcome the cycles of having something come up that you have to look at, whether it be a pattern or a cycle you've been stuck in. Maybe you've been stuck in the whole wash, rinse, repeat loop over and over again, where things are just playing over and over again. And then you're like, why am I attracting the same situation? Because you're stuck in a loop. Something's wrong with my washing machine. I really need to get another one, but I can't wash a load of clothes unless I'm here, because it gets stuck in that loop, literally, of wash, rinse, repeat. So I have to manually kind of push it through. And every time I do that, I think about that. That's a cycle that we get stuck in. And so look at these as cycles to clear and really welcome them, because you want to continue growing and expanding, because like I said, otherwise you'll end up in a dead-end relationship and a dead-end job. And you'll be bored. And what happens when we get bored? We have affairs. We get fired from our job, because our soul instinctively knows that, we're stuck and we need to be moving on from that situation or doing something new, or we need something to learn from. People judge mistakes. Oh, this is a mistake. You know what? Sometimes our soul will trigger mistakes so that we'll have something to work on, so it can show us something. So welcome that. Because to clarify that card, we have ebb and flow. And this is the magic energy to be in. What's come up for me over like the past 2 weeks that I've been sharing with people in my videos, and different members of my soul family, because I have different soulmates that I get together with, and we spend time with, and we might smoke and chill and talk or whatever. But messages that have been coming up that I have been sharing are, I talk all the time about us being divine beings, having human experiences that we're simulating through our mind by what we believe to be true. This is without a doubt how the universe works. Imagine yourself in the 5D, the fifth dimension. And it's like you are, with a controller. Imagine you're playing a video game and your physical form is your avatar. Imagine it like that. So if you imagine it like that, when you meet somebody and you have an experience with them, first of all, it makes it a lot easier to not get attached to them, because attachment's what causes all of our problems. It's a lot easier to not get attached to them as you look at, like maybe this is, some type of level or experience you're having on a video game. And when it comes to an end, that particular experience you've had with that person, be like, okay, I had that experience. I'm on a new timeline. Let's do something new. I'm just going with the flow. Whatever happens, because I know that my soul is simulating these experiences for me. And so if you look at that, and the next time you have even like a conflict with someone, this is the example I've been giving a lot. Imagine you have a conflict with someone. This could be someone in your family, someone you live with. This could be your children, co-workers, your boss. The next time you have a conflict and it's over with, for one thing, look for that wash, rinse, repeat pattern. It might be some type of loop you've been stuck in. Really look at it. Be objective about it. Be like, okay, meditate on it. Use your intuition. How is this making me feel? How is this making me feel? Because, your feelings are your compass and your guide. And then afterwards, be like, okay, I've mastered this particular demo. So you know what? I'm not going to think about it anymore. I'm not going to obsess about it. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to create scenarios about it, because guess what happens If you get to thinking about it, trying to figure it out, you create more and more scenarios that, you are now experiencing. Whereas if you just tell yourself, okay, it's over, it is what it is. It was what it was, no more, no less. New timeline, new energy, sage your home, take you a salt bath, move on from it, and watch you leave it behind. So that is how you ebb and flow. We have the Knight of Pentacles. And the Knight of Pentacles is a very slow moving energy. So we have the Chariot. And like I said, I feel like maybe one or two more shifts, maybe a couple more cycles to go before we're in this fast, where what we are trying to align to can just come to us very quickly. And what I'm feeling like is it's just a matter of recognizing what's we are perceiving to be standing in the way, because there's really nothing standing in the way but our own limiting views. So it's just a matter of getting a grasp on whatever stories it is we're telling ourselves. Check your stories. Are you telling yourself that you're not good enough for what it is you're trying to manifest? Oh, this couldn't possibly work out. So it's something that's playing in the background, and that's the message that I'm getting, because with this Knight of Pentacles, I feel like this is that stuck energy. And that stuck energy of that watch, rinse, repeat, of telling yourself stories. And I feel like it has to do with self-esteem. Self-esteem is a tricky one, because a lot of times we will put others, we consider others better than ourselves. So if it's like somebody that you're seeking, like let's say, for example, you've been seeing somebody and now you're kind of codependent, kind of enmeshed with them, as far as they have made you feel some kind of way. And so now you are really addicted to how they make you feel. And whenever they don't provide that, I know as a Scorpio, I tend to kind of have a fit because I like to have my way. And so then that kind of pushes them away, because they're like, whoa, and so I think we tend to do that a lot. And so the message that's coming through from Spirit is to really check yourself. For one thing, becoming addicted to how somebody is making you feel is the same as being addicted to a drug. That is just your particular drug of choice. I've had some clarity lately that has came up for me as far as addictions. And right before I got ready to do this reading, I always kind of meditate. I connect to my goddess, my patron saint, Santa Marta la Dominadora, because she helps me with my readings. Sometimes I have another spirit guide who will help me. His name's Dr. George. I talk about him quite a bit. But, today it's Santa Marta that's helping me with this reading. And she did tell me to make sure I include in the reading my channeled information that I have received just over the past year about addiction, in case you yourself are struggling with addiction or your loved one is. For one thing, if your loved one is struggling with addiction and you yourself are struggling along with them, you are codependent as hell, because that is their shit. You've got your shit, and you need to disconnect from their shit. Don't worry about it. Don't try to fix it. Don't fret about it. Don't enable them. That's their shit. With addiction, I know, well, like with weed, for instance. Weed to me is not a drug or an addiction. It's an herbal medicine. I mean, argue with me if you want to, but I'm real firm in that. Weed is here. It's a plant that grows from the ground that we are here to use, that has a multitude of health benefits. Not only that, but I feel like it really does help to calm the mind down to where you can receive messages that you need to receive from Spirit. Because otherwise we tend to be stuck in our, monkey ego mind, and thoughts going a mile a minute. And weed helps to allow, it's almost like, it's a gateway drug, but not the way they say it is. It's a gateway as far as I feel like it opens up the gate to the spirit realm to where we can receive messages. As far as other drugs, and I don't want to say other drugs, as far as real drugs, they can be a gateway as well. So let's say, for example, you have a loved one who is struggling with like a cocaine addiction. Um, these can be a gateway also to receive messages. And so sometimes I feel like if you were able to work with those gateways and receive that information from source and actually begin ascending as far as raising your consciousness, as you do that, you will need the drug less and less. And it's something that will fall off on its own accord. Especially, I have gotten that especially with cocaine. Especially with cocaine. Seriously. I not myself have never done it, but I know that there's different drugs that open up gateways. And like I said, spirit sometimes will work within those parameters. And I'm by no means, listen to me, by no means saying people should go out here and use drugs, because no, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if someone is drug addicted, for one thing, that's their shit. Second of all, because it is something that they are using, sometimes messages can get through to them. It's almost like a gateway opens up, and that they are actually able to ascend and raise their consciousness. And as this happens, a lot of times these addictions will fall off on their own accord. So don't judge it. Don't try to figure out. Don't, it's, for one thing, it's their shit. Or if you are the one that's struggling with addiction, work with those gateways. Raise your consciousness, and then you'll get to the point where you will no longer align to or need that particular drug of choice. Same thing with people. We get addicted to people. And so you need to stay detached, especially if you look at it the way I was talking about over here with this ebb and flow, with realizing these are just different demos. And I say just different, but they're different demos that we're having. Creation, dream time. And so basically the message that I'm getting with this is that once you're able to like really clear your energy and stop being stuck because of self-esteem issues or limiting views, self-limiting views that you have, and you're able to balance more, because these are the major blocks right now, then you'll really be able to really, and usually I don't pull two of these cards, but they both fell out this particular deck. And I've never had this card before. This one's new to me. This is all about that creating with the universe, where you actually are able to like tell yourself a better story. Maybe you've been telling yourself the story, like I said, that, I have to earn this person's approval, their validation. How could I possibly do that? I'm doing all of this and, they're still rejecting me. Instead of telling yourself that story, tell yourself, you know what? I am the prize. Why in the hell would they not want to be with me? And you know what? Who cares anyway? Because you know what? I'm so focused right now on self-mastery, self-discovery, that you know what? I don't care one way or another. And you know what? That is the magic fucking energy, like magic. If you start imagining that, telling yourself that higher vibrational story about, you know what? There's no way they could not want me. Do you know how amazing I am? I've got the sauce. And, let that play in the background while you master yourself, and don't be so life dependent upon this person being in your life. That's a very repelling energy. So I'm here to tell you, release that. Four of Pentacles. I swear this is like the fourth time I've gotten this card this past week. Over like the past 7 days. This card here keeps coming up in one shape, form, or another. This deck, I think this is like the third time I've gotten this card in like the second day. And I interpret it different ways, but there's no way for me not to interpret this as a waiting energy. This is a waiting energy of waiting for something or someone to show up. in order for like your life to start, in order for you to be happy finally and finally be complete. But I'm here, the message that's coming through from Spirit is what's going to happen when you finally get that. Because you know, as Scorpios, we almost always get what the hell we want. It might take a while, but you know, we're very good at getting it one way or another. So what's going so what's going to happen when you do finally get that? I'll answer it for you. You're going to be bored as hell. You know, because a lot of times people want what they can't have. So that is the reason why you cannot rely solely on someone else to be everything you need. Because it's going to bore the shit out of you. You know, master yourself and have enough self-discovery that when someone comes along, y'all can just be like great together. You know, it won't be like you're so codependent and enmeshed in that toxic energy. You know, imagine, you know, just having a partner, somebody you can just go do fun things with, and you're not worried or judging or dependent or clingy or needy. That, you know, that is the energy that I'm getting from that card. I did not look this one up. Hold on. Usually I'll look it up. Let me see what this says. This video is going to be a little lengthy because I've got the messages. I've gotten so many messages. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm trying to find it. Hold on. 1. Communications liaison. This house relates to the sitter's engagement with the world. It can indicate the message that is being transmuted to the world by their behavior. So this is all about the energy, the vibe that you send out. You can like think that you're not chasing somebody and be like, you know what, like my divine partner, I was like, I didn't think I was chasing him because I never called him, never texted him. I'd wait for him. I got to where, you know, I stopped stalking him on social media. We live 500 miles away, so I can't stalk him in person. But I still was chasing him. And the reason why I was chasing him is because I would sit around and obsess and worry and long for. And that energy is very strong and it's very repelling. And so the universe reads energy, not words. So you can say all you want, but it's that vibe that you send out. So this is how you are communicating right now with the universe. And so be very real with yourself and very honest, and always check in with yourself energetically. We have the Ace of Cups. So between this Ace of Cups and that Chariot card, I feel like this is the energy that we're moving towards. Now this Ace is a brand new beginning, and the Cups is the love energy. So this very much is a love reading. It's been more about love than anything else. And so this is that brand new beginning that's coming in. But the message that I'm getting is that you must fill your own cup first. You've just got to. Because that is the magical energy. And like I said, otherwise, you're going to keep ending up in situations where you're settling, that are toxic, where you're overgiving, where you're being used, maybe abused. I know I've been in those type of relationships too. It's all about that cycle, but that cycle's coming to an end. But there needs to be a little pause in between the ending and the beginning, because to clarify that, we have wait. Don't rush into it. Allow nature to take its course. So I know you're like, okay, how can we possibly have this wait card, but yet we have this Chariot card? Because like I said, there's going to be a pause in between an ending and a beginning. And once we have this pause, then that beginning can come in very, very quickly. Very quickly, because we're just a few cycles away. This is the beginning of a new cycle. Okay, this is the cycle we're going into right now. The one where we fill our own cup. The one where We are not so focused on getting something that we know once we get it, we're going to be bored as hell with it. Like we, got a new toy and we tired out of it. Um, so instead of just jumping into that, we're going to take a pause to really master ourselves and discover ourselves and really clear out any type of patterns and cycles that we have been stuck in. We have the Four of Cups. And so basically the energy that I'm getting with this is that stuck energy of feeling like it's a lonely energy. I don't know how many times I do get lonely. And I think, man, if I could just have somebody come over here just for a little bit, just so I'm not lonely. But then when they come over, I have to have such a meaningful connection that I really can't even do that anymore. I used to be able to when I was younger. But now my space and my energy is so valuable to me that I can't just have anybody in my space and energy. I have to have a real connection with them. So this is, like I said, that lonely energy. The message that I'm getting with this is that there are worse things than loneliness. I mean, you can be, used, abused, tossed away. That is way worse. Having somebody in your energy right here, creating more karma, more ties, more attachments, more codependent connections. Than just taking that pause to really get to know yourself. Because like I said, we're starting a new cycle, but this Chariot card, I mean, this is going to come once, we get through. Like I said, I'm sensing about like 2 more cycles. Remember I said that this journey cycles like this? Okay, so about 2 more cycles of working with these tough energies, because there really have been some tough energies lately. This is the Empress. And so the Empress is all about power, stepping into her power. What makes you so powerful? When you no longer need other people, one, and when period. That is like the main thing. When you no longer need other people's approval, you no longer need other people to make you feel some kind of way. You no longer need people to accept you. Then you face fears of rejection. You face fears of abandonment. You face fears of intimacy because you're no longer scared to really put yourself out there and get hurt, because you're like, you know what? I am my own person, and anybody can add to that, but they can never take away from it. That is how you become powerful, by facing those fears and releasing the need for others. That is the Empress energy in a nutshell. Six of Swords. This is that feeling abandoned and feeling left for dead. We have expectations of others because, like I said, we want them to fulfill our needs. Come in and accept me. I want to belong to a group. I want to conform. I want other people to look up at me and just be like, oh, you're just so wonderful. And these are all things that are from the ego. The ego wants these things. And once you can reprogram, not so much reprogram your ego, but make it take a back seat. It's always going to be there, but once you stop feeding it and stop feeding into the fears, because see, the ego does not want you to be happy. The ego always wants to create havoc, and so it always tries to find a way to trigger you, to make you fearful, to keep you from fully stepping into your power. Because once you fully step into your power, the ego really fears death. What will happen to me? Where will I go? And your ego basically is like your name, your body, any type of group that you feel like you belong to, ethnic-wise, race-wise. All of that makes up your ego. All of that is not who you really are. Who you really are is this timeless soul who can transcend dimensions and time and space. You can go out and, get hit by a bus tomorrow and you will still exist. The real you. Not your ego self, but the real you. And so your ego does not want you to be happy. So that's basically like the energy that I'm getting with the Six of Swords, is that conflicted energy. And really being fearful and not being able to step fully into your power until you face these fears and you strip these things away. Breathing is secondary. Don't forget to think. A good manifesto is foremost legible. Reconsider your concept of small versus big. And so basically what I'm getting with this also has to do with, like, breathing is secondary. Don't forget to think. Being mindful is going to become second nature. For a while, be very mindful of your thoughts, because your thoughts are what you manifest. And so be very careful of whatever type of story you're telling yourself. Be mindful. Whenever something comes up, any doubts or fears or insecurities, check yourself. And this will become second nature. A manifesto is really it's like what you claim to be. It's about yourself. And so definitely the message that's coming through is to watch the stories that you are telling yourself and things, those self-limiting beliefs. I mean, I don't know how many times I was like, well, this is as good as it gets. And I would settle for somebody who was way beneath me, way below me. I would settle for jobs that were, man, I have a college degree and I would, go work at a restaurant, shit like that. I've got a whole bachelor's degree. But I would not really realize my full potential because of my own doubts and insecurities. And that whole victim mentality that people aren't going to give me a chance, they're not going to treat me right. So do check any type of self-limiting beliefs that you've been telling yourself. And this small versus big, and basically I feel like that's all about realizing that you are part of a bigger connection. You are the universe. You are, all souls are connected in this big quilt that forms the universe. And so stop thinking so small. You are connected to something so much bigger than yourself. And stop limiting yourself only to, like, your ethnic group or your gender, because you know what, that is, coming from a 3D physical perspective. And none of us are our bodies, like I had said before. You have been many other things. You're a multi-dimensional being, so do remember that. Sorry, this video is a little long. We have the Ring card, and so basically I'm getting with this that this is a promise. It's actually more of setting an intention. The energy that I'm getting with this card is setting an intention. And how do you manifest? You set an intention and you focus your energy on it. And so do set the intention to be true to yourself and to make this whole thing about self-discovery and self-mastery. Because once you do that, you will feel so good and you will be vibrating so high. Have you ever seen somebody who just has amazing self-esteem and they have the most amazing life ever? For the most part. And even if they don't have the most amazing life, they're still usually really positive and, still good things happen to them. They're still content. That's because that is the perfect energy to be in. When you have bad self-esteem, guess what? You align to all kinds of bullshit. Situations that are abusive, jobs that are just menial and, where, you aren't treated fairly. So do really check in with that and set your intention to, like, really master yourself. Because I'm telling you, I'm not there yet, but man, I'm getting there, and it's an amazing feeling like nothing else in the world. Like, it's way better than any relationship I could ever be in. The relationship I have with myself right now is amazing. Power. We have this power card, and I do feel like this card here goes along with that Empress, and that I was talking about, the Empress energy of not needing another person. Oh my gosh, there's so much freedom in that, and it's so liberating. And liberation is power, because you don't have anything binding you. So do definitely, like I said, make that promise to yourself, set the intention to have the most amazing relationship with yourself, and watch everything else just work out perfectly. All right, let me read this postcard oracle. It says, Dearest you, on Earth, humans learn about life by telling stories and creating new ones based on shared experiences. Eventually, after repeating one often enough, it becomes your main story you use to define yourself in the world. I promise I have not read this yet. So to get the answers you seek, you must get vulnerable and hear your story when you tell it. Ask, why do you tell it? Is it really true? What else can be true? Can you see the truth that spirit is in all things? Do you see how other stories overlap and intertwine? Spirit loves stories, for they are like blueprints for co-creation. So tell the one we know to be true about you a story of courage, gratitude, and honesty. Tell an empowered story about well-being, vision, and wisdom and grace. Sorry, I need my glasses. You will experience your world according to your story you tell about it. So make sure there's stories you're proud of. Genuine Loving Fan Club. I promise I have not read this. You know, y'all can like take this to the bank. If these Scorpio videos, you know, I'm gonna be more real in these than any other, because you know, this is my sign too. But I promise I had not read this, and that was beautiful. Wasn't that beautiful? Wow. Well, this was your Scorpio reading, and be sure and check out my other videos as well if you would like a personal reading or to make an energy donation, which are always welcome. I'll include that in the description of the video. Thank you for watching, fellow Scorpions.